Is it written about in the scripture that this is going to happen? There's also a letter from Albert Pike to Mazzini. For some of you guys have heard this letter before. It was in London Museum for a very long time. Some say it's still there. And this is the letter. I just want to show you guys this because it foretells the first two world wars that have already happened. They hadn't happened at the time. But then it tells the third world war that we are actually experiencing. This is what I believe this is what is getting ready to take place. And this is what we're seeing in the Bible. So here we go. Check this out. And First World War, he says, must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia. And this was the Prince Michael, what was the names of these people? I can't remember right now. These were the palace they had in St. Petersburg. They had this beautiful palace. The Romanovs had these beautiful palaces, and some people believed that this was the end of Tartaria. Some people believed that these kingships that were such predominant at the time, when the communists came in and took that over, this was World War One. This is when we saw the Bolsheviks. We saw a lot of different stuff. What else can we say about World War One, David? I know you weren't around during that, but what else can we say, and how accurate this is about World War One?
Well, it's absolutely accurate. This was the rise of the Bolshevik Revolution, and it was also the beginning of the Balfour Declaration, which began to paved the way for the nation of Israel to become a state. So this is absolutely spot on. There ain't no doubt about it that this happened, and this letter was definitely in the British Museum, and I've got a lot of confirmation on this, and I have one of the books I have is by a Roman Catholic cardinal from Argentina that talked about going there. This book was written before it was taken out, and he goes there and talks about this letter. Wow. And yeah, and now it's been taken off display. I wonder why. But yeah, many people read this and confirmed that it was there. It most definitely was.
All right, so the Second World War we have that talk about, everybody knows about World War II. I'm just going to read this to you because it's interesting the way it's worded here. It said it must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. Now let's go on to number 3 here. This is where we are at as we speak right now. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the agentur of the Illuminati, between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will become constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We're seeing that right now. We shall unleash the nihilist, the atheist, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens, obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries, will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an idea, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. So we see this agenda not only laying out the last war, but what they expect to come out of this war. And we've seen through the Scottish Rite their motto, order out of chaos. We see that there are occult teachings that speak on this Hegelian dialect where you can have two sides opposing each other, as David was talking about the right-handed path and the left-handed path. We see this agenda unleashed onto America and other countries. David, just talk a little bit about this statement here and how huge that this agenda has been played out that we can see.
All right. And I'll try to walk softly here.
Yeah, walk softly.
Um,
We've got people that get offended and
well,
hurt by
and
things.
this is, I guarantee it's going to offend people. There's no doubt that the establishment of Israel in 1948 was a prophetic event. It's something that God allowed, or it wouldn't have happened. But at the same time, when you read here the verbiage of Mr. Pike and Mr. Mazzini, who took over the Illuminati after Adam Weishaupt, you can see that the creation of Israel was the plan of the Illuminati. It was, we could say a lot about the Rothschild involvement in it, but the nation of Israel was created, and Zionism, we talked about C.I. Scofield and how he was financed, this guy that wasn't even paying child support. He belonged to one of the elite clubs there in New York where many, many millionaire and billionaire Jews went that financed C.I. Scofield. Why would they do that? We talked about the Tavistock Foundation funding dispensationalism and the pre-trib position. Why? Because Zionism will be the flashpoint of the final war. Zionism has to exist for this hatred to continue between the Zionists and the Muslim people. They're both being used as pawns in the game. And for the Israel of God, and I'm not here saying this evening that it's right. Israel has a right to have a country. They have a right to defend themselves. And I'm not saying anything like that, that they don't. But we have to realize that they are not the nation of God just because of their genetics. Yeah. And this is a creation to use as a flashpoint for the final conflict, which we've talked about in all of these scriptures tonight and these other confirmations. Right here it is. They tell you their plan right there. And, it might be good for us to believe that they mean what they say. And you can see these first two world wars just as planned. And you can see World War III here, according to the Illuminati plan, it's coming off without a hitch.
It's so true. And David, it is an hour. We've been an hour, and I'm not halfway through